Hi, welcome to a short video that demonstrates how to boot an Atmel SAM FID3 explain board through an external memory card. So to do this, these are some of the prerequisites that we need. It's an Atmel SAM FID3 explain board and a micro SD card with an adapter, a USB to micro USB power cable and a serial debug cable. And on the other hand, I have a laptop installed with Ubuntu 14.04 LTS version on it. See how to format the SD card and create the required partitions. So I have already inserted the SD card into the card reader, and let's click on the search bar and select the disk utilities. This is it. Look for the inserted SD card. So here this is my SD card, and delete for any partitions. Okay, here I have deleted the partition, and now delete the other partition as well. Okay, so now there are no more partitions here. Now let's see how to create the partition. So click on this icon, create new partition, and select the required memory size. I say 50 MB should be sufficient for the boot partitions. Make sure that the boot partition will be in the FAT format. Give it a name, say boot. And it's great. Okay, here the boot partition is ready now. And we also need to make sure of one thing, that the boot partition is always set to be bootable. So here we click on this and make it bootable. Change. And now we create another partitions for the root file systems. Say create partitions, and the root partition should be of either ext3 or ext4 format. So here I select as ext3 and give it a name as rootfs. Okay, done. So here we have created two partitions. One is boot partition, on which the image files will be loaded, and the other is the root file systems, in which, and obviously root file systems will be loaded. Okay, so the SD card is ready now, and let's see how to load the files, how to compile the files and load the same into the respective partitions of the SD card. So now let's see what are all the stuff that needed to be downloaded from the internet. So first we need the toolchain. I have downloaded the toolchain from lineario.org for my Linux PC. So it's here now. This is working fine for me now, and hope it would work fine for others as well. And the rest I have downloaded from 8091.com/linux for SAM. Here let's look for our board. Okay, here it is, 89 SAM FID3 explain board. This is it, and here we can find the pre-built binaries already, and here we can find all the source files. We can just click on this and go to the source locations, or we can also download the same on the top left side of the same page, say from here. So here we have the Bootstrap, the U-boot, the kernel, and also the root file systems, say Octo and Buildroot. You can also download the Ubuntu root file systems, and that to work fine with the Atmel SAM FID3 board. So here I have already downloaded all the required stuff here. So 8091 Bootstrap, U-boot, the kernel, and the Ubuntu root file system. So now, and this is the toolchain. Now let's see how to extract or enter the toolchain and create the same. Okay, let's switch into the command window. let's go to the location where we have downloaded and saved the files. Okay, so this is the toolchain that we have downloaded, the tar file. Let's untar it, say tar-xvf g. Okay, so it's getting untarred now. It takes a couple of minutes, maybe. Let's wait till then. Okay, so it's untarred already. Now let's see. Okay, this is the folder on which the toolchain is untarred. Let's get into that, and let's get into the bin. Okay, here let's copy the path of the bin folder of the extracted toolchain. Let's say pwd, the personal working directory. Okay, so this is the path. Okay, now let's see how to create the env setup file, the environmental setup file. The advantage of this environmental setup file is we need not always enter the lengthy commands every time to compile any single file, like arc equals arm, cross compile, and so on. So just create env setup file or env setup script actually, and let's give the path there, and so that it will be very helpful for us to create the tool chain in whichever the folder that we want. So we can just run the env setup script and the toolchain will be ready in that particular folder. And let's see how to do that. Let's come back to the folder where we need to create the toolchain. Say vi env setup.sh. Okay, so let's enter these 3 lines here and just insert the path that we have copied from the command prompt just now. Okay, just save this. Okay, save and exit. So now just we can see that at the moment the toolchain is not yet created. So to confirm that, we just type EAR followed by double tap. So we can see that the toolchain is not yet created. So now we just run the env setup script that we have just created and see whether the toolchain is created or not. So just run the env setup. Okay, and follow the same command EAR followed by double tap. Okay, here it is. So the toolchain is created successfully now, and it is applicable all the subfolders present in the folder which we are in now. Okay, so now let's compile the Bootstrap, U-boot, kernel, and load the respective image to the respective partition of the SD card. So let's start up with the 1891 Bootstrap. So let's go to the location where we have stored it. Okay, here it is. Make sure that the toolchain is created. Okay, so the toolchain is created, and now let's def config it. So first clean and list clean, and followed by the def config command. So let's see what is the def config command that is needed for SAM-FID3 board. Okay, say ls, and since we need the image for the SD card, so this will be our def config command. Let's select it and come out of here and say make SAM-FID3 explained SD boot def config. Okay, and just say make. It takes some time. Okay, so now we have compiled the Bootstrap, so we should be able to see a folder called binaries. So here it is. This is the folder. It's created now. Let's get into binaries and copy this bin file to the boot partition of the SD card. Say cp space, okay, bin 2/media min14 boot, and don't forget to rename it as boot.bin in caps. Okay, so we are done with the 1891 Bootstrap. Now let's do the same for the U-boot. So let's come out of the Bootstrap. Let's get into the U-boot. And let's follow the same set of commands. Say make clean, just clean, and make SAM-FID3 underscore explained underscore mmc underscore config. Okay, now say make. It again takes a couple of minutes, maybe. Let's wait till then. After compilation, we should be able to see the uboot.bin in the same folder. So let's just copy that to the boot partition of the SD card. Okay, so it's compiled successfully. Let's see. Okay, so this is the one uboot.bin. So let's again say copy the uboot.bin to the boot partition of the SD card, and don't forget to rename it as uboot.bin, u-boot.bin. Okay, so done. Now let's do the same for the kernel as well. Let's come out of uboot, get into the kernel and say make clean. Okay, make test clean. Okay, and let's do the dev config now. Okay, so here it is. Select the dev config for SAM FID3 explained and come out of there and say make SAM FID3 underscore explain underscore dev config. Okay, now let's say make this takes at least 30 minutes from now. Let's wait until then. So the kernel is compiled successfully now. Let's copy the Z image to the boot partition of the SD card. So Z image will be available in arc on boot ls. So here we have copy the Z image to the boot partition of the SD card. Say India 1114 boot partition of the SD card. Don't forget to say that this bin file will be saved by the name image.bin. Okay, it's done. Now let's come out of the ARC folder and say make dtbs, so that it will create the DTB file. Okay, it's done. So now let's copy the DTB file to the boot partition of the SD card. Boot TTS, say copy 1891, so explained to copy this file to the boot partition of the SD card as well. It says no such file, so let's copy the correct file ctt ttb. Okay, this is the right file, and yes, so So we are done with the boot partition. Now let's copy the root file system. So we already downloaded the Ubuntu root file system. Now let's copy the same to the root partition of the SD card. Okay, just untar the tar file to the root file system partition of the SD card. So let's say tar -xvf -c c slash media element 14 and root. Okay, now this will just untar the root file system into the respective partition of the SD card, and then the SD card will be completely ready. So we just need to unmount it and insert it into the board, and it should be able to boot then. Okay, now we have successfully untarred the Ubuntu root file system into the root file system partition of the SD card. Now let's unmount the SD card. Say umount the boot partition and also the root partition. Okay, now take the SD card and let's insert that to the board and see whether if it works fine. Okay, so now the SD card is loaded with all the respective images and also the root file systems. Now let's see how to connect the same to the board and how to boot the board. Now let's insert the SD card into the adapter. Let's connect it to the SD card socket of the board. So here it is. Let's connect this SD card and let's remove the jumper J5. Remove it and we will force the board to boot from the SD card. Let's connect the TTY cable. Okay, now before connecting the power cable, let's do some terminal settings. So here we are using Minicom as a serial terminal. Let's open it. Say okay. Okay, so settings is ready. Now let's connect the power cable to the board. Just connect the power cable like this. Okay, you can see the LED already glowing up. The board is also booting, as we can see in the terminal. It takes some time to boot, so let's wait till then. Okay, so the board is up now. As we can see, the default user ID and password is also visible there just above. So let's enter it as Ubuntu, and type password. Okay, so the board is up now through the SD card. That is it for this video. Thank you for watching.